Peter Pan and His Shadow. Read the story to find out more about Peter Pan, the boy who could fly, Tinker Bell, the fairy, and their friends Wendy, John, and Michael. The Darling family lived in London. The family included Mr. and Mrs. Darling, their three children, Wendy, John, and Michael, and their pet dog Nana. The children often talked of a friend called Peter, a boy who never grew up. Peter talked to them of a place called Neverland, where there was a lagoon with flamingos flying over it. Of course, Mrs. Darling did not really believe the children. After all, Peter had never knocked on their door asking to enter. When Wendy, John, and Michael told her that Peter came in through the window, Mrs. Darling wondered how that was possible as the window was on the third floor. One day, the children had fallen asleep, and Mrs. Darling was sitting in a chair in the children's room. All of a sudden, the window blew open, and a boy dropped on the floor. He was accompanied by a fairy who darted about the room. Mrs. Darling started up with a cry, and somehow she knew at once that he was Peter Pan. Before Mrs. Darling could speak to them, the boy and the fairy left. As they too had spotted her. However, in his hurry, the boy left his shadow behind. Mrs. Darling picked up the shadow, rolled it up, and put it away carefully in a drawer. A few days later, Mr. and Mrs. Darling had to go somewhere in the evening. Wendy, John, and Michael were fast asleep in their beds when the fairy, who had come in earlier with Peter Pan, flew in. The fairy's name was Tinker Bell. She searched in all the drawers in the nursery, rummaged the wardrobe, and turned every pocket inside out, looking for Peter's shadow. A moment after the fairy's entrance, the window blew open, and Peter dropped in. He made sure the children were sleeping and then called out to Tinker Bell.
Tinker Bell? Tink, where are you? Do you know where they have put my shadow? Which big box? This one? But which drawer? Yes, do show me.
Tinker Bell popped into the drawer where the shadow was. Peter pulled out the contents of the drawer with both hands, scattering them to the floor. In his joy at finding his shadow, he forgot that he had shut Tinker Bell up in the drawer. Peter had thought that he and his shadow, when brought near each other, would join like drops of water. And when they did not, he was appalled. He tried to stick it on with soap from the bathroom, but that also failed. A shudder passed through Peter, and he sat on the floor and cried. Peter's crying woke up Wendy. Boy, why are you crying? Peter, who was exceedingly polite, rose and bowed to her beautifully in the way of the fairies. Wendy, too, bowed beautifully to him from the bed.
What is your name?
Wendy Moira Angela Darling. What is your name?
Peter Pan.
Where do you live, Peter?
Second to the right, and then straight on till morning.
What a funny address. Is that what they put on the letters?
I don't get any letters.
But doesn't your mother get letters?
I don't have a mother.
Oh, Peter, no wonder you were crying.
I wasn't crying about mothers. I was crying because I can't get my shadow to stick on. Besides, I wasn't crying.
How awful! And I can see you've been trying to stick it on with soap. It must be sewn on. I dare say it will hurt a little. Peter clenched his teeth and did not cry as Wendy stitched it on. Soon his shadow was behaving properly, though still a little greased. Peter caught hold of Wendy and began jumping about in the wildest glee. Alas, he had already forgotten that he owed his bliss to Wendy. He thought he had attached the shadow himself. Perhaps I should have ironed it.
Oh, Wendy, look how clever I am. Oh, the cleverness of me.
Peter, how old are you?
I don't know, Wendy, but I'm quite young. I ran away the day I was born.
Peter Pan suddenly remembered Tinkerbell.
I can't think where my friend Tinkerbell has gone. Tinkerbell, Tink, where are you?
Who is Tinkerbell?
A fairy.
Peter, you don't mean to tell me that there is a fairy in this room?
She was here just now. You don't hear her, do you?
नहीं वो ना आप पूरा लेटते हैं अपना
The
सामान रखते
only
हैं
sound I hear
बंद नहीं
is like
हुई
a
वो अभी।
tinkle of
सामान
bells.
रखते हैं कुछ चीज
It
नहीं
seems to
नहीं
come from over there.
Wendy, I do believe I shut her up in the drawer.
उधर
Oh,
लेटने के लिए
Peter, if she would only stand
लेटने
still and
रखते हैं
let
सामान
me see
निकलेगा
her.
ताकि वहाँ सामान बहुत
Where
निकालते
is
हैं
she? Where do you both stay?
They hardly ever stand still. And I now mostly stay with the lost boys.
Who are they?
They are the children who fall out of their perambulators when the nurse is looking the other way. If they are not claimed in 7 days, they are sent far away to Neverland. I'm their captain.
Peter, why did you come to our nursery window?
To hear stories. You see, I don't know any stories. None of the lost boys know any stories. Oh, Wendy, your mother was telling you such a lovely story about the prince who couldn't find the lady who wore the glass slipper.
Peter, that was Cinderella, and he found her, and they lived happily ever after.
I'm glad.
Don't go, Peter. I know so many such stories. Stories I could tell the boys.
Come on, we will fly.
Oh dear, I can't. Think of Mummy.
Besides, टच करते
I can't fly.
I'll teach you.
Peter, would you teach John and Michael to fly too?
If you like.
Wendy woke up John and Michael. Peter flew above their heads. He made it seem so easy that the others tried it too, with not very encouraging results. How do you do it?
Look. You just think lovely, wonderful thoughts, and they lift you up in the air.
Of course, Peter had been trifling with them, for no one can fly unless the fairy dust has been blown on them. He blew some on each of them, with the most superb results. The children were not nearly so elegant as Peter. They could not help kicking a little, and their heads were bobbing against the ceiling. They flew around in a circle. Soon, however, Peter Pan flew ahead out of the window. Wendy, John, and Michael followed. They circled round church spires or any other tall objects on the way that took their fancy. They flew over the forests, over the mountains, and over the sea. Finally, they arrived in Neverland to start their new adventures.